Thank you for visiting the YouTube channel for bestbiblecommentaries.com. In this video, I want to compare two of the best reviewed Bible expositional commentary series, the Preaching the Word commentary series and the Reformed Expository commentary series. Before I do that, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to this channel. Also, I'd appreciate it if you click the thumbs up button on the video, as that helps my efforts on YouTube. Before I tell you more about these two series, I'd like to tell you about two articles that I recently wrote on my website. I'm going to put a link in the description box down below in case anyone's interested in reading them. The first is called "Why Did John Calvin Not Write a Revelation Commentary?" The second one is 100 Bible Commentaries from a Baptist Perspective. So if you're interested in either of those two articles, please follow the links in the description box down below. The Preaching the Word commentary series and the Reformed Expository commentary series are two of the best reviewed expositional commentary series, or sometimes they're called homiletical commentaries. What that means is commentaries in these series read like printed sermons. Don't let the size of the volumes intimidate you. Some might see a commentary this big and think it's advanced or it's technical. It's not. There's actually just the reason why it's so big is because there's 102 sermons on the book of Exodus in this volume. Philip Graham RYKEN takes the reader. Actually, he preached in his church. He took his congregation through Exodus passage by passage, and now he takes the reader through Exodus passage by passage. And commentaries in both of these series, though, read like printed sermons. Comment down below if you've used either of these commentary series. Let me know what you think, or if either of these series is on your radar. I am wondering why that is. So please leave a comment down below. I think the first sentence in the preface to the REC series describes well the importance of commentaries like this. The first sentence reads, "In every generation, there is a fresh need for the faithful exposition of God's Word in the church." And these two series are the fruit of that. We might not be able to go to Philip Graham RYKEN's church, I think it was in Philadelphia, where he preached 102 sermons on the book of Exodus, but here we have it in book form, and the church around the country and around the world can benefit from learning from his teaching on Exodus because it's now in a printed format. Neither of these series is technical. A reader does not need to know the original languages to benefit from these series, and that's what we would expect when listening to a sermon. Occasionally, an author will provide the definition for a word in the original language, just like he might in a sermon. But again, it's not technical, so any reader would do fine with this, would do fine with volumes in these series. So if a person is a new Christian or a person is new to using Bible study resources, volumes in either of these series would be fine. The target audience is really anyone. Pastors read these and new Christians read these. All authors in each series either are pastors or they were when they wrote the commentary volume. So a requirement or a prerequisite to writing volumes in each of these series is that the author had to have preached through the particular book of the Bible, passage by passage. So Richard Phillips' sermon series on Revelation was turned into this commentary. Philip Graham RYKEN's sermon series on Exodus was turned into this commentary. Now, the chapters are edited for a book format, but they're basically like reading printed sermons. So there is a commonly there is an anecdote for an introduction, and most of the chapters end with some devotional reflection or application suggestions, because that's how sermons often end. The reason I could have chosen different volumes to show you as I talked about these two series, the reason why I chose each of these volumes is because these authors have both done question and answers with me on my website. Again, I'm going to put links in the description down below if you're interested in reading those Q&As. Philip Graham RYKEN actually, he has more than one commentary in this series, but his Q&A with me is on this Exodus volume. This is one of the best reviewed volumes in the Preaching the Word series, and his Q&A with me is on this volume. He actually recommended my website a few years ago, and so you'll see his quote on my website as well. Richard Phillips a few years ago also gave me some of his time, which I was very grateful for, and did a question and answer with me on this Revelation volume. And I'll put a link in the description box for that Q&A if you're interested in reading it as well. So let's talk about some of the differences between the series. The Preaching the Word series has been around a lot longer. It's been around 30 years, over 30 years now. It started in about the early 90s, I think, was the first volume published. It used to have this commentary, this cover design. I know this is the Ecclesiastes volume, but this is just one of the volumes I have in the older cover design. You can see Preaching the Word here. Now, if you find a volume that exists in both the older cover design and the newer cover design, just know it's the same content in each one, except for the Bible translation that's used. So the comments are the same, but the older cover design uses the NIV English translation. The newer cover design uses the ESV English translation. So that's the only difference. The REC series has been around maybe 10 years or so. There's many more volumes out in the Preaching the Word series. There's about 40 out right now. The projection is about 50 for the Preaching the Word series, and there's maybe, I would guess, like 15 to 20 out in this particular series, and I know of some others that are coming out in 2021, and just through the interaction I've had with authors, I know that there's even more coming out in 2022. There is a Genesis volume commentary that's going to be 2 volumes, so some of them are going to be multi-volume commentaries. So Preaching the Word series is getting close to finishing. REC series has a ways to go before that commentary series is complete. Theology. Here's where I want to do my best to describe the theology of each of these commentary series as accurately as I can, because there is a difference between them. So the REC series is, as the title gives away, it's Reformed theology. All the authors are Reformed. I think that they're all connected with Presbyterian churches or Presbyterian schools. I do know that they are all committed to the Westminster Confession of Faith. Now, compare that to the Preaching the Word series, which is described as broadly Reformed and not necessarily classically Reformed. Now, I know not everybody likes those terms. But I'm giving you the descriptions that the publishers intend. So broadly Reformed means that, how would I summarize? There's Baptists who write in the series. They're not all Presbyterian. Maybe that's the summary answer. There are Baptists who write in the Preaching the Word series. James Hamilton writes the Revelation volume, and he teaches at Southern Baptist Theological Seminary. David Allen writes the 1st through 3rd John volume, and he teaches at Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary. But another example of broadly Reformed is because the authors are not necessarily committed to the Westminster Confession of Faith. Some are, some aren't. You'll find some different perspective on eschatology comes to mind. So James Hamilton Revelation volume is written from the historical premillennial perspective. So this series is often called broadly Reformed, and you will find some classically Reformed authors. This one, if you want to use that terminology, is classically Reformed, or another way to say it is that all the authors are committed to the Westminster Confession of Faith. Both of these volumes are well reviewed. This has won EPCA Gold Medallion Awards for volumes. In this series, this one won the World Magazine, which is Marvin Olasky's publication, World Magazine Series of the Year in 2017. So they're both award-winning. I think that the biggest difference between them, other than just the individual authors and the volumes that are available right now, is that distinction I made between broadly Reformed and classically Reformed. So I hope this video has been helpful to you in understanding more about these two commentary series. I thank you for watching it, and thank you for visiting bestbiblecommentaries.com.